Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I always have to wait for a couple of seconds until it's actually live. But I think we're live right now. So, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. Today, things are interesting. I mean, Bitboy got hacked. We have to prepare for the next a week to come because things are about to get crazy. I've been looking at the news and oh boy, is it wild as, well, the markets have started to rebound. We've seen a lot of positivity all of a sudden, but there's also some allegations which turned out to be false. And I'm saying all this with 9 people watching because for some reason, like to start early. So I think I'm going to have to say everything again in 10 seconds here when everybody tunes in. So I'll just give it a minute for everybody to hop on in the chat, and then I'll actually start speaking. Otherwise, I'm wasting my breath here. Everybody's going to ask, what's it going to be about? So let's give it a couple of seconds. I'm just texting somebody. Always, in the chat box, real quick, put where you're watching this video from, or live stream, I should say. And also, if we have some lag, I am sorry, because for some reason, internet here is inconsistent, even though it is the best of the best that I could go for. So, all right. Anyway, I think everybody's in. So a couple of things have happened. Bitboy got hacked, which was rather peculiar. I've got a little update on that. The next week is about to be so crazy with so many things happening that I want to quickly just make a video preparing you guys for everything you need to know about. Then with regards to crypto, as I said, the markets have been rebounding. And I'll actually show that to you guys right now. The markets have been doing pretty well. I mean, you can see it right here a little bit. Perhaps like this, we can see it a little bit better. Cardano is up 4% over the last hour, up 12% throughout the day. Crow is up 7% today. Gate token is up 8.5%. Stacks is up 7.2%. Just generally speaking, a lot of very positive numbers. Polygon up almost 8% as well. And like I've been telling you guys, I'm buying like a madman. Yesterday I had a little conversation where a lot of people were asking me, what is your plan? Do you think it's going to drop more? And I told them, you never really know for sure. And even you guys, my most loyal people in the world. I love every single one of you. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, it literally is fear stacked on top of fear. And we were having a discussion on Mario's Twitter space with 10,000 people listening. But even everybody in that chat did not know exactly what to tell you, because at the end of the day, the market is a forward-looking indicator in the sense of what the market shows you right now is probably going to be announced soon, right? It's not usually the opposite way around. What we like to do on this channel is make proper choices based on what we expect is going to happen, but very often the market beats you to it. And right now, Cardano is, for example, going up. I personally think because the price has been going down so rapidly, and right now it's FOMO on top of FOMO, meaning people are buying the dip, like me, for example, and then other people are thinking, ooh, I should be buying right now, right? Yeah, I should. Yeah, I should. And that's why you get sometimes these little rushes. Some others are speculating that it's market makers, which basically provide the liquidity on the exchange, right? To make sure that the spread is low, that you can actually trade always. That some of them have returned. And since there is a lot more, I guess, price manipulation, then they can, I should say it differently, actually. So whenever market makers leave, you get less liquidity, which again would basically make the price move quicker. That's the simplest way I can put it. If they come back, in theory, that would still just make the price move slower, but to some extent, it could also be that some of the institutions that are watching now all of a sudden step back in, when prior, just before notice or whatever, they opted out, or they sold everything, or they moved or something like that. We don't know. These are details that we don't have. These are only speculatory pieces that are very, very hard to pinpoint because it's almost impossible to really know. Anyway, over the last hour, 3 of the best performing coins as well. I'm not sure why Solana is in the best performing coins here when we press hourly. Cardano, Polygon, Conflux, and Solana, the ones that were performing worst yesterday, are today doing exceedingly well. I'd say there's still a lot of gains to come, but it's a good day, all right? And over the last week, everything basically has been going down, so it's also kind of nice to see finally some positivity in this space again. Now, I don't know where I've got it open. I might not even have it properly, but as I told you just now, there's a couple things I want to show you. One of which is the fact that Bitboy got hacked. And I don't want to go too deep into this because I'm like, what if YouTube does not like it? Let me quickly pin this. There we go. Everybody who pressed the like button on this, you're appreciated, or the retweet. You guys are nice. Here you can see his Twitter is absolutely filled with a shkabam. Perhaps he got his account back already, or at least have been taking the post down because he has not seemed to update us. But perhaps, yeah, I think Twitter took his post down, so that's already nice over the last hour or so. But you can see on Twitter 3 hours ago I posted, as we know it, the SEC is full of stupid, egotistical guys. Join the rebellion by claiming our free airdrop, and it was a scam. It's alleged that it was about $200,000 to $300,000 that was lost. I think Borovic, let me quickly try to find it here, posted about $180,000, but the scam did last a significant amount longer. You can see here 172 ETH, $300,000, but that was like 5 hours ago, and the scam lasted another 4 hours. So potentially they made like $500,000 profit, which would be insane. But yeah, a lot of you guys have been saying, did he really get hacked, or was it all an insider game? And to that, all I can say is, we will never know. We will never know. I mean, to a certain extent, I think that he wouldn't do something like that because it doesn't, like the tokens will forever be able to be tracked, right? So I'm not sure exactly why he'd want to do it that way. On the opposite side, some people have been telling me, man, perhaps the whole reason he bought the Ben meme token as well is just because it's like a last effort to scrape some money together. This is a lot of crypto people telling me this, that he's literally going broke or going insane or something like that, and he's just trying to make money left to right, and the meme token was one way to do it, and this perhaps is another way. I personally don't think he'd step that low, but hey, sometimes people can surprise you. I like Bitboy as a person, but in business, you never know, you never know what people will do to make some money, especially if it's, $500,000 in a couple hours. People do some crazy stuff, and this way, it's different than actually raising for a coin, because that way he'd be prone to the SEC's violence. And this way, by saying, hey, don't send money here, but hey, post it. It's like, well, how are they going to go after you for that? Who's going to go after you? Somebody who got scammed? Well, very often, more often than not, they don't do anything about it. So anyway, I don't think it's going to be. Somebody says he wasn't supposed to sell Ben either. There you go. You can never trust people when it comes to that department. I never do, at least. Anyway, to not stick with these negative things too long, let us quickly see. So a lot of you guys have been up to date with the fact that XRP this week is in a really interesting spot. I've been telling you guys that for a while, that XRP right now is one of my most watched cryptos. As I've said before, XRP used to not be my most held crypto. And then after a while, like in 2021 perhaps, I think after the lawsuit came, I started stacking that like a madman. And quite recently, I think a week or two ago, we started talking about this idea of this lawsuit is really almost finished. It really is not further much to go. This was before Coinbase and Binance got sued. But if anybody could have made the choice of, okay, I am not holding XRP for December 2020 when it got sued up to now, and I could buy now at about the price that it was when they got sued, I think everybody would have taken that bet, or they would have taken that deal. And so from that perspective, since right now the price, again, is below where it was the moment that they did get sued all the way back. You can see if we just scroll back. They got sued the 22nd of December 2020. You can see the price, I guess it's like literally those days is dropping off significantly. But 2 days before, it was at roughly 58 cents. And around that time, it's like you can see about the 50s, somewhere in the pretty high numbers. And so basically right now, you can still buy prices that you saw the moment that they got sued. Now think for yourself here for a little second. Let's say you could have skipped all these years here in the middle. Hopefully you guys can see it properly. All these years are in the middle. Even though some might say, well, you better just actually have bought at the moment they got sued and then sold it a couple months later, because look at that. It went about 10x or so, I think. I think it went from 17 cents, all the way towards like $1.70, something like that. So it's still actually 10x in only 4 months or so, which is actually pretty wild if you start thinking about it. But let's just skip these high points for a little bit. Right now, you're getting the same prices all the way before. A lot of people would take that. And the general trajectory, XRP has been doing pretty well versus Bitcoin. It's been gaining a lot of ground, except for the last couple of days, potentially. And people are just noticing this lawsuit can't take that much longer. And now, specifically, one thing that's coming up shortly. I'm not sure if I have any article for it open here. But anyway, one thing that's coming up shortly is the William Hinman documents. And everybody that's involved, like I see now that my face is not perfectly in the middle before, but whatever. Everybody that's involved in the Ripple lawsuit, everybody that's been updating themselves, has been keen to know what exactly was said by the SEC in those emails, and we've been waiting for that for years. So the fact that it's so close is kind of daunting. It's like, it doesn't feel real, but it's kind of scary, because what if it's a really big letdown? What if it's a really big thing? And I think people are not even paying close enough attention to what exactly could be in there and how much it could just change the entire market and everything. I even speculated, perhaps the SEC went to get their Coinbase and Binance lawsuits in just before these documents come out, just to be sure that they even have the chance to put up an allegation like that. And perhaps they did that to make sure they can allege that multiple different cryptos are securities based on rules. And so perhaps these documents coming out are not that big a deal. Some others are stating that no, the SEC knows that these documents are pretty useless, the William Himmel ones, so they can just go on with suing, they don't care. But I sometimes wonder, why did the SEC then wait so many years to sue Binance and Coinbase? Why did they not just do it earlier? Why not last year and whatnot? Is it because the Ripple case is now over and they want to move on? Is it because the Ripple and Library cases are now in a different point so they can go on? Why are they doing it in such a strange fashion? And what I mean with that is, why then go, right? You're completely quiet for so long. And why they go to Binance and Coinbase a day apart? Why make it like the most difficult for yourself that it could be? That I do not understand. That I do not understand. Everybody in the chat box, by the way, I know sometimes we're buffering, guys. I can't help it. Internet is kind of strange. It's the best of the best that I could have gotten, but sometimes it still does bad things. I'm sorry about that. But I want to quickly say, if you've not done it yet, make sure you press that like button. What do you get? Absolutely nothing. And I will also say, join the Discord. What I'm about to do is make sure that people that are in Discord, I'm going to make a little free, completely free VIP section, basically, which is just for the people that I think are cool, people that are in the chat a lot, people, you know, just the cool people, basically. A lot of you guys that are watching right now, you're my people that I think are special, you know? If you're watching a live stream of mine, you always hold a special place in my heart, so don't worry about that. But I want to share a lot more things in there that I usually just don't share. Like, my team does a lot of analysis on every single department. I sometimes don't even post it on Twitter. For example, whenever talking about like charts, whenever talking about the Glassnode analytics or the basically venture analytics, I have everything, but I never share it because where, why, just like I can't be bothered. Obviously, completely free, don't worry about it. But yeah, it's gonna be cool. So join Discord, that's all I'm saying. There's a link for that down below. I have 2 Discords, but join the XRP crypto one. You'll find it in the description somewhere, but do it after the video is over. Anyway, I just wanted to quickly make that clear that you guys should press the like button and join over because I'm going to be giving you guys a lot of free information for fun. So what else is happening the 13th? Because a lot of things are happening. We've also got ourselves, and this is so critical yet again underlooked, I think, witness list for the full House Financial Services Committee hearing on digital assets next Tuesday. Whenever they have these committee meetings or hearings, I find that it's completely useless and that they get nothing out of it. But because the SEC has been so prevalent and so pushy, perhaps this could be different. Perhaps this could be an eye-opener where all the people in this little conversation are going to be like, well, it doesn't really make sense because if you want to register, where would you do it? How would you do it? It can't. Right? It's not possible. And perhaps now it's going to be thrown up, they're going to throw up a ball, which is like, well, shouldn't we really take action now against the SEC for their misconduct or something like that? And potentially this can make a lot more people open their eyes because the situation is just so crazy. So again, William Himmel documents, this, we've got a little bit more. We also have got ourselves over on Binance US. If you guys remember, they're closing down the United States dollar off ramps, right? So they're closing the pairs for the USD down, and they're making sure that you cannot deposit and potentially withdraw your dollars anymore to bank accounts. And that's basically what we can see right here again over on June 13th, which I think is pretty coincidental, pretty crazy, but that's not everything. All right, as I've stated before as well, we've got ourselves the English, so Great Britain's unemployment rate, which I always like to watch, but it's not that important. Most important is the inflation, core inflation in the United States. That's coming out over on Tuesday, June 13th. I'm going to be watching that very carefully because the next couple of days, and I think honestly that from Monday on forward, things are going to start packing up. You know, things are going to start getting pretty wild because of the anticipation of all the next couple of days. Wednesday, the day after, we got ourselves the interest rate. And then Thursday, we've got ourselves the ECB interest rate. It's just a pretty wild freaking week, guys. It's going to be pretty damn crazy. Dusty is Dutch, right? I speak Dutch. I like Dutch. Dutch is nice. With regards to charts, we'll not talk about this for too long. The only thing I'll say is that it's actually quite peculiar how people always have these different opinions. What we talked about before is the reason we had ourselves a short open. And again, I want to quickly make this clear. I am not saying that crypto is going to go drop to the freaking ground. What I was saying was that the general trajectory since the start of this year has been upwards. And we're basically anticipating we were just now anticipating this 200 weekly moving average break. And right now we're basically retesting the 200 daily moving average, which is the blue line. We've talked about this for a while now. Now, the blue line coincides exactly with the trend line that's been going around since the beginning of this year. As you can see, the white line right there. So what are we looking for? What are we waiting for? Well, we're seeing if this is going to break down. Over the short term, which is again from about the beginning of April, 10th of April to now, we've actually been in a little bit of a downtrend. So these two things are now colliding, where we are seeing this short-term downtrend basically backed up by a little bit of a longer-term uptrend. We're wondering if it's going to bounce back up or if it's now going to break back down below the 200 daily moving average, below our, I guess, half-year trend line, and potentially make a lower low because of this SEC pressure. It's going to be very interesting to watch. And the reason I have a short open is partially in anticipation of a bigger move, which again is to combat the losses you incur from not properly, I guess, utilizing your DeFi portfolio as of this point. A lot of you guys are not heavily into DeFi. I don't mind, but I've said before, if you're a little bit more worthy of a person, how do you say that? No, if you're a person, English sometimes is difficult, with a higher net worth, I very often encourage people to look more into how to manage your money, to make sure your money doesn't always sit still. Because if you're not making 6, 10, 20% a year, and that's like different advances, right? Simple Ethereum staking can be a couple percent, but you can do a couple of very easy strategies to get yourself up to like 10, 14, and perhaps 20 if you're wanting to manage it a little bit more. It's not actually that hard. The point being there, this is if you know what you're doing. But that also means that now, whenever prices go down hard, you're in a little bit of a tussle. So you have to kind of prepare and do some additional things. One of those things that I do is to hedge by opening up a short position to make sure you basically balance it off a little bit, meaning your DeFi portfolio now is making you less money and perhaps there's a little bit of a downside. So you want to kind of like base it again by making sure that if the price goes down like crazy, at least you're making some sort of money by your short position. Short meaning you think the price is going to go down, and with leverage you make money on it if it actually does. In the same time, or at the same time, you know, the whole economy is in a tussle. We've talked before about the de-dollarization, and I'll make a video about this going a little bit deeper into all of it because I still think it's something that people have explored for a long time right now. But I still think many don't understand the deep side behind it. Like I think I have one article open again about the, let me quickly see if I got it. We can actually just go through a couple of things that I've got. See here, because I got so much stuff open. Here we go. China declares support for massive Brics expansion as countries push to challenge the US dollar. Right now, I said it before and I'll say it again, they don't want you in crypto. You know why? Because it gets money out of the US dollar. So if China, Brazil, India, Russia, South Africa, all these countries, and Malaysia, are all pushing for the dollar not to be as strong anymore, or not as reliant on the dollar anymore, and the people in the United States dollar are going to move out to this other currency that's not controlled by the central government, but to crypto, you're losing all your grip. You cannot print free money anymore. You cannot control the people anymore. And the rest of the world doesn't respect you anymore as much because it's just losing in every department. Now, the United States doesn't make it better by not fostering the adoption. And as we said, the United States keeps losing in this technological innovation world with 5G, and we can kind of go and name a couple more concepts there where they're just lacking and they lose, and later on they think, oh, let's take it back, let's make sure 5G is on our shores, etc. But they're just late to the party every single goddamn time, and I don't know why they do that. I literally do not know. Maybe it's like a ego boost. Maybe they like it the way they do it, of just like keeping control and trying to ban everything to make sure. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But is the de-dollarization happening? Well, to a certain degree it is. I am not stating right now that your dollar will be worthless in 3 years, because I cannot say. But I will say that the dollar is not in the strong position that it was for the last century or so. Before, always, if you put money into the US stock market, you'd be good. If you had dollars, you had strong currency. But it's looking to change because the rest of the world is not really messing with those rules anymore, and things are changing. Again, that's my thoughts. Now, I will, in the midst of things, also say that Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, CZ from Binance, and none of these guys are actual angels. And why I'm saying that real quick is because we've been talking for the last couple of days about these lawsuits against these guys and how much we hate the SEC. I want to give just one piece of pushback, which is These guys, once more, like Bitboy, like these guys, are not angels. They could be doing shady shit. They could be doing things wrong, and they could, at the end of the day, literally do things to make you lose money and make them gain money. One of those things is like with FTX, for example. I mean, all the employees thought they were doing good. Okay. A lot of employees were thinking that the top level executives were doing good stuff. Whenever Sam Bankman-Fried was given a speech, a lot of people were like, oh, this is such a smart, innovative kid. When then again, a lot of insiders knew this guy's full of shit. But on the surface, for a lot of people at least, some people saw through it, but for a lot of people, it looked really good. And that's because we have a bias to think that these spearheads basically are seeing something good for the future of humanity, etc. When in reality, a lot of these guys are just good at marketing, good at knowing how to answer questions, and good at making freaking money and proper businesses. One of the examples here is the CEO of Coinbase dodged the question on whether Coinbase invests in tokens on the platform. If you do not know, Coinbase has a venture arm, meaning they invest in new projects. Like every exchange has this, it's not a crazy thing, but I went through Coinbase Venture's entire portfolio and found that these 30 projects were both part of their investment portfolio as well as traded on the Coinbase exchange. So they did buy into these, and they were also subsequently listed, which, you know, can basically prompt the question, did you only list coins, or were you basically primarily listing coins that you had money in? You know, that basically you invested into, and then the moment they list, you make a ton of money on the valuation increase. And when asking, I should actually grab myself some AirPods or some headphones or something. I'll quickly go find some. Give me a second. Where? I have found. I think, yes, there we go. Okay. There we go. Everybody, you still in the chat? Let's quickly see it. Everybody just say yes or no in the chat box. Let me quickly see if the sound is now connected. There we go, so we can listen to it now. There we go. All right, we have everybody in the chat. That's all good. Let's quickly watch this.
That's not good for America. Coinbase has a venture arm that invests in tokens and other things. Does it invest in anything that's traded on the platform?
I don't know actually the exact. I want to make sure I give you a specific answer, but I think most of those have been just standard venture investments in startups.
So that's not a factor in the listing decisions, is whether Coinbase has or doesn't have a position in the company or the token.
Well, we don't take any listing fees. And as far as I know, on the digital asset listing group, they don't look at our personal Coinbase venture investment. It's not a factor.
So I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I call BS on that. You know why? Again, as I've said, what I do for the most of my life is venture investing. So the only thing I look at is investments. The only thing I look at is analyzing whether or not something is a good place to put your money into. And that's also, for most part, or for a big part, why I like to share things on YouTube. It's something different than what I do for most of my life. And it helps people. That's what I think sometimes. Anyway, one thing that he's saying now is, oh, well, they don't look at, you know how hard it is to get listed on Coinbase? Because you basically need an introduction. And the same thing to get an investment for Coinbase Ventures, you need to get an introduction. And so their listing department knows Coinbase Venture invested, all right, probably can't get listed. And actually the way we have looked at making investments is if Coinbase Ventures invested in the crypto or in the company that owns the crypto, so to speak, I mean, that releases the crypto. I can't say owned, but let's say releases the crypto or innovates the crypto, you know, creates, spearheads, whatever you want to call it. There's a way higher chance of them actually listing the coin. And they don't really often list coins that they didn't actually have some sort of incentive for. At least that's as far as I've noticed. So that I call BS on. And he answers it very strategically, those questions. Which, again, the reason I'm just showing you that is that we cannot always just say, oh, and I'm going to be very, very, very honest here, very blunt. Your people that you like a lot, for example, even a John Deedon, a Bitboy, a Brian Armstrong, a CZ, I think all of them are pretty cool, and I actually support every single one of them. Don't get it twisted. Even a Brad Garlinghouse, I support them all, and I think all of what they're doing is pretty great. But don't always take it at face value. These people can be lying to you because they still have their personal incentives. Every person telling you they don't have any personal incentive, they're only doing this for you, only, right? That's a lie. It is, I think. There are some people out there, but it's just very, very unique. And so a CZ, for example, even if he's very philanthropical, he's extremely rich. I mean, he can be, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not only for the people. There's a business to be run, which, again, might be good for people. But there's a business to be run, and you should understand that. You know, I just want you guys to be really clear on that many people, they have an incentive that a lot of people just don't see. Just don't trust every single word that's coming out. And with that department, there was something interesting. So yesterday, we covered the fact that Binance Nigeria was in a little bit of trouble, huh? Did you guys remember that? Andrea says people lie, but that is a sin. Yes, I was also surprised the moment I noticed that people lie. I was like, wait a minute, what? That's not what they thought of me. I was like, can people really do that? So Wise Kapoor, so Sumit Kapoor, whatever, says, fact check news. The SEC bans Binance's operations in Nigeria, declares it an illegal entity. We covered this and I was like, whoa, that's surprising because nobody's talking about it. Well, apparently CZ came into state that this Nigeria SEC banned Binance Nigeria Limited, which actually has no association or link with the Binance that we now know and love, and has been inactive since 2019, the company. For Nigeria, Binance's only affiliated entity is Binance Africa, which is really funny. So Binance Africa said, the entity mentioned in this circular is not affiliated with us, so we are urgently seeking clarity. We are a pro-regulation organization and will continue to engage with regulators, yada, yada. And then somewhere, I don't know where, they stated that Binance actually basically got rid of, that Nigeria basically got rid of Binance and all those guys like a couple years ago already. So that this was interesting. Let's quickly see, what's this? Is there sound in there?
FTX at $9 billion.
I think, is this copyrighted sound?
The biggest crypto failure in history is probably FTX.
I don't know. Let's watch it without sound. There's freaking captions. FTX at $9 billion. Where are you, the chairman of the SEC, when FTX collapsed? Yes. And how many times did you meet with FTX prior to their collapse? I think my public record shows 2. You met with FTX at least twice, and arguably the second biggest crypto failure in history, Terra Luna, who was the chairman of Terra Luna when it collapsed, or who was the chairman of the SEC when Terra Luna collapsed? You were, sir. Is he saying you were? Anyway, he's just pointing out basically, and we talked about this before, but it's funny that CZ is retweeting this now. A hashtag fire Gary Gensler. Mark my words, Gary Gensler, our industry are here to stay. The US market is important, but it's also expungible. You are confused and panicked because of the power of crypto. We support Binance and all the other ones. So CZ is literally, that's really funny, retweeting a fire Gary Gensler type of post. I'm going to like that. That's funny as shit. I think that's really funny. I'm enjoying that. That's cool. Anyway, to move on, we already covered this, that Bitboy is, his followers lost a good ton of money. At this point, when I saw it, it was like 180,000, 160,000. And so eventually the scammer stole like $500,000. That's wild. That's not good at all. That's not good. Anyway, Stuart Aldoty, take a look at this. This is the chief legal officer at Ripple. This is something like, I think it came out like 11 hours ago, something like that. So, untrue statements or omissions in registration statement. The SEC issues stop orders blocking registration statements when they're untrue. One that says, I am not registering as a broker-dealer, a securities exchange, or an ATS because I'm not trading securities. Should have been blocked if the SEC believed that statement was untrue. We've talked about these before. The SEC, like Crypto Wolf says here, doesn't necessarily believe what they do. And whenever they make, I guess, these half-assed rules, statements, whatever, they're always like half-assing things, like I just said. It's like always difficult, always strange, always... as hard to fully understand what you should be doing as possible. And that's why I keep telling you, I think this is just strategy. This is just the way they go about this. It can't be a coincidence. It can't be an accident that they made everything so freaking ridiculously stupid. Nobody believes, oh, crypto's clear. You know, just follow the 1930, whatever, 40 security laws. It's fine. It's easy. Nobody believes that except for like 6 people at the SEC. No, there are a couple other ones like ex-SEC members. So maybe like a total of 20 people believe that, but the general public doesn't, and it doesn't make sense to me. So Cameron Winklevoss said the Senator Warren and Gary Gensler war against crypto is going to alienate an entire generation of would-be Democrats. Yeah, could be so, but this is just important for Americans partially. Winning the youth vote with get out the vote is key part of the Dem playbook. Dems believe the youth vote will carry the day. Now, he's basically talking about the controversial part of crypto in the election, which is, of course, coming up. Crypto has already won the hearts and minds of millennials and Gen Z. They don't debate the merits of crypto. They debate where and what to build next. And millions have put their life savings into crypto. They won't forget the value destruction Warren and Gensler have caused. And you can see crypto's quiet gains. Ownership climbs despite crash in prices because more and more people kept owning crypto. Then it seems again here that the United States SEC wants to destroy all these crypto holders. And I don't want to go too far into politics except for saying it is indeed true that things could change quite rapidly as we get a pro-crypto person in office next year in the United States. It's just something I'm also interested in and updating myself on. Another piece, $5.6 billion fund manager says more U.S. bank failures are incoming, warns liquidity and liability crisis boiling under the surface. I can't make it much more obvious than that they're just literally protecting the banks at all costs by stopping you from getting into crypto. That's what I believe. In a new Bloomberg Invest interview, Soros fund management CEO Don Fitzpatrick says that more bank failures are in sight she believes, I didn't know that. I thought, fair enough, Dawn is a woman name. As she believes that embattled sector is still flashing red flags under the hood. Quote, I think you're going to see more bank failures, likely in the small banks. And again, $5.6 billion private investment firm. It's pretty huge. So it's not going to be the big headlines and the size of the failures we've had so far, but I think there are more problems under the surface. And one thing to add to that is how in the EU, we have seen the recession now come in, and you can't trust politicians either because, well, what did Christine Lagarde say a while back? We will not be seeing a recession. What did we see? A recession a couple months later. And here again, this is two sides because I don't necessarily trust these fund managers because they're also biased, but on the opposite side, I think the banks are less trustworthy in the sense of, no, we're fine right now. And Biden and all those motherfrickers saying, no, we're gonna be good. And Jerome Powell, all those guys. But in reality, things are just so bad in the background. And I think really they're trying to crumble the pieces together to keep this banking system intact. At least it doesn't make a lot of sense for it not to be the case. Picking and choosing tokens to prosecute is pretty unfair, says former SEC cyber chief. Robert Cohen says the SEC's selective enforcement is having a real impact on real people and real businesses. Can't make it any clearer than that. It's unfair, and this is coming from a former SEC cyber chief. Straight your camera, Dusty. Is that oh, my camera is falling a little bit. Wait a minute. You're right. I think my camera is indeed like slightly tilted. Which side though? Now it looks pretty straight, but here it looks really goofy. No, this side should be more up. Heh? Because the way I'm looking at it is like it's a little bit like this. But then on my screen it looks a little bit more like this. Let me try something. We're trying. Okay, let's see. I think this one should go a little bit more up. I think that fixed the issue. That's good. The mirror is crooked. The mirror is solid, I think. I think it's pretty solid. I think we're good. Yeah, I think this is nice. I think we fixed it. Anyway, to continue on, so this is the Robert Cohen saying the SEC selective enforcement is having a real impact on real people and real businesses. The US SEC, led by Gary Gensler, has been clamping down big time on crypto industry. This week it filed charges. Oh, we've all seen that. Now, Robert Cohen, former SEC cyber chief, spoke to Laura Shin on the Unchained podcast about the disparity. Quote, there is a seeming element of real bad luck and randomness and getting singled out to be one of the 10 or 12 tokens that I mentioned when there's hundreds that could have been, which is indeed also true. I think if Cardano, XRP, etc. are all mentioned to be securities or are all confirmed to be securities, that the majority of the crypto space is going down next. So why only go after a couple? Why not just name them almost all? Like, why not name out of the top 100, name like 90 of them, you know? If everything is a security the way they make it seem. Cohen told journalist and podcast host, when you think about a government taking action, that sort of randomness seems rather unfair. If the SEC were passing rules, it affects everyone the same way, and people should have chance to comment. I think it's strange that somebody that worked for the SEC is so normal. But I guess perhaps because he's now done there, he can just be opening up. Maybe the moment he worked there, he's like, you know, yeah, strange. But now it's, you know, now he's in a fair place again. Let's see. Where were we? Here we are. When the SEC says that a token is a security and was not registered, they seem to be implying that something wrong happened, he said. It casts a negative suggestion over the people involved in that token in the first place. It's having a real impact on real people and real businesses, and Gary Gensler has not been especially forthcoming on the status of various tokens. He eluded congressional questions about Ethereum has shilled coins like Algorand, and none of the current enforcement actions, including the latest against Coinbase and Binance, involve proof of work assets because Dogecoin, Litecoin, and all those have been left out. By the way, said Cohen, this may never get decided. These complaints may never actually go to trial. They might get settled. They might get dismissed for other reasons. So we might actually never get a result either, and that would still leave the crypto market in a bad spot, which is potentially why Bitboy is fighting this battle to the end because, well, even though they're also biased for their own business, you know, might be so that, wait, why are you guys like commenting like crazy about my freaking mirror? What's going on? Mirror is crooked? Oh, you mean it's like this a little bit? Like I can see it now. It's like a little bit like bent. This side should be more up. Because I think the camera now is straight. But, oh, it's also not perfectly centered around the table. I have, like, for anybody with OCD, I'm messing you guys up, am I? Is that helping you out? Is this doing you a favor? And I should, you know, left candle's tilted left. I'm not going to touch that. What if? Does it even matter? This is extremely important. Nah, this is just broken, I think. Who makes freaking candles this way? Why would you do that? All right. It's all off. I'm just listening due to OCD. All right. What do I do? You know what? It's just gonna, I think if I, no, okay, this does not work. Never mind. We shall try to put it back. Yeah, this looks good. There we go. You see? Woo! I'm so happy. Oh, look at this. It's perfect. We got it. Oh, wow. I did not imagine that. That went way better than expected. That was good. Anything else messed up? We good? I mean, the mirror I'm not going to touch because if I messed that up, that would not. Nah, I shouldn't. Nah, nothing. Nothing changed? What do you mean nothing changed? It was like, wait, who said that? Ban that guy. Who said that? No. He needs to go. Oh, damn. All right. Come on, let's talk about crypto. All right. So this article here, the last one we covered, was about the ex-SEC cyber chief, who basically also does not admire the way the SEC has been doing things, which I think is quite peculiar, the fact that they're actually opening up about that. And Laura Shin, journalist and Unchained host, I guess she's just one, accepting the words there. But this is nice, coming from Robert Cohen. And I think we see more and more people at the SEC even not understanding exactly why or what's happening at the SEC. Partially, I think, because they just don't let them know. Anyway, U.S. government debt to surpass, I'm not going to name that number, 52, by 2033, as current consumer debt shatters 17. Statista. Anyway, in the midst here, Tom is coming in with the $10 saying, it isn't random. They went after coins that had higher market cap. When countries start buying oil with crypto and exchanges use coins other than the US dollar, the dollar will be in bad shape of their own making. Let's read that again. It isn't random. They went after coins that had higher market caps. Okay. When countries start buying oil with crypto and exchanges use coins other than the dollar will be in bad shape for their own making. Yeah, but that wouldn't necessarily still, because again, if we take a look at the crypto market, we go back. So there were still a couple of others that they could have gone after that they didn't. So again, why leave proof of work coins out of that? Are those then decentralized? Is that the way we see that? And again, in my own way of seeing things, why not go after, or you're just saying they just went after the biggest of the biggest? Let's quickly see another little list of coins that they went after. I want to see this. Because, Stacks, for example, why did they go after that? Did they only go after US coins? Because, let's quickly see here. Polygon themselves said that, Matic was developed and launched outside the United States. So we can't say that that's the case. You can't say they only go after United States coins. So what can we say in that department? Let's go to Miles. I think he has a good list of the different tokens that were alleged to be securities. I can quickly find it. Here we go. So out of this, how big is Nexo? Well, okay, because Nexo was in trouble before. How big is VGX in comparison? Just a question, right? Oh, is that Voyager's token? Okay, so that's Voyager's token. They're going after the lending tokens. Okay, I bet. What else did they go after? I see Flow. How big is Flow? Rather big, but how big? Market cap, 525 million. Can we see the ranking somewhere here on this page? I'm not sure how you see the ranking on this page right here. I think it's somewhere here. Oh, here we go. Number 67. So they went after a coin that's number 67 and left a lot of coins here in the midst that they didn't touch at all. So what is then the characteristic? Why those and why not others? Again, you might know, right? But I personally don't. Just because they're based in another country doesn't mean that the SEC, should quote unquote leave them alone, because it's not the way they've seemed to do things. Adam is based in Switzerland, ADA2. Nope, man, no reason. There's no logic. There's no justice. No, but it just meant you said it's not random then. It's probably not. They probably have some idea behind it. But for the consumer, it's like, well, they just picked a couple of different cryptos and left the rest out, but the rest might actually be in the same spot. So let's say there are 10 people in the line that did something wrong. But you're just saying, those 3, come with me, you've done something wrong. The other 7 are like, did we do something wrong? Didn't we? Because they're not getting alleged that they're doing something wrong, but they know themselves they're basically in the same situation as. And so as a consumer, they now look at those 7 and think, oh, those are fine. But at the end of the day, they themselves probably know, like, well, but we're kind of in the same situation, so we're probably going to be next, but you don't know because you don't understand the rules. And so it's like, what have we now done? The only thing we've done is make those 3 look extremely bad and the other 7 confused. Dusty, can you fall today? No, I don't want to fall. That was a big accident. I really thought this is he's talking about 2 streams ago when I was rushing and I fell on the floor and I had my battle scar, right there. See, this is a battle scar. This is serious, all right? Very serious. I have to go to the no, just kidding. It was not that deep, but I was thinking, should I cover it up? Should I say I've not fallen, nothing happened? Or should I be honest? And I'm not going to lie, it was a pretty good fall, but it was not that. You don't have that as an adult as often, that you actually go and fall freaking flat. If a grandma falls, I understand that. That's also an adult, okay. But as a kid, you fall all the time, not a problem. But as a grown-ass man, I don't fall as often. So it was like a shock. It's like, what the, that actually happens to people? Continuing on. U.S. government debt to surpass 52 trillion by 2033, as current consumer debt shatters 17 huge numbers, quadrillion. So, yeah, I don't know. It's still, this is trillion, I think, no? Million, billion, trillion. Million, billion, trillion. Okay, there we go. Same. So, yeah, the numbers are going up pretty significantly. I don't know what to tell you about debt. I mean, this is like this is like the least surprising thing in the world, Oh, wow, the debt is like increasing significantly. They're increasing the debt ceiling. They don't care about anything. It's just going to keep increasing. It's like, I don't even want to spend time reading this, actually. I'm looking at it thinking, this is like too obvious, perhaps. It's like, it's like talking about the fact that the US dollar goes down in value over time. It's like, yeah, everybody knows that. It's too obvious. This one was more interesting, but we already covered it. The fact that China declares support for massive Brics expansion. They just want to make sure to use the dollar as least as possible. It's now getting confirmed all over the place. The state-backed outlet China Daily says Ning made the statement while commenting on reports that Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro is pushing to add Venezuela to the group. As an important platform for cooperation among emerging markets and developing countries, Brics is committed to upholding multilateralism, vigorously advancing the reform of the global governance system, and increasing the representation and say of emerging markets and developing countries. Brics has made waves this year amid reports that the bloc is considering whether to launch its own gold-backed currency in an attempt to challenge the US dollar status as the world reserve currency, which could be mental. The next BRICS summit is set for August in South Africa, and members say they will discuss an expansion, although it's not clear whether talks on a common currency are on the agenda. But I guess let us see. A total of 13 countries have now formally requested to join the group, and it's funny, the all against the dollar type of committee, I'd say. U.S. Senator Loomis revamps efforts to crypto regulations amid the SEC lawsuit. What's going on there? The regulatory framework will allow individuals and companies to own and trade digital assets in America, but she's not getting the light of day. All right, people are ignoring her like crazy. We successfully prevented POTUS's 30% digital asset mining tax from being included in the debt ceiling deal, but the fight is far from over. I am working on a regulatory framework that will allow individuals and companies to own and trade digital assets in America. Stay tuned. Again, the only problem is she might draft this, she might be excited about this, but people still need to approve it. And as of this point, it seems like none of the higher-ups actually care about crypto or want this to succeed. So I think prevention of something is easier than actually bringing a framework like this in, because again, it seems over the last couple of months, I'm sorry you guys can't see it perfectly, it's not in frame, that they've just not wanted to work on releasing a framework of sorts. So even if she builds everything out, the SEC is going to say, no, things are already clear, we don't want this. Let's quickly see. So this actually, I've seen this on multiple different places. This is Magazine by Cointelegraph. Here they state that 67 cryptos are labeled securities, but whenever I look at the list, it's like, 15 or something like that of them. So where is like the list of 67 that they're alleging then? Is that because of certain different characteristics, or why have I not found anybody with a list of the 67 that they sometimes allege? Let's see here. The total number of crypto in the US that the United States regulator has labeled as securities has now reached an estimated 67. But nobody seems to have the official number, huh? 88,000 views from last week. SEC lawsuits, 67 cryptos are now classified securities. But they just have okay, no, here's a little bit more. So the SEC has now declared that these 54 crypto tokens are also securities. And perhaps this is more of all the lawsuits that have been filed in the past. Every single one that's been going on before. So we've got Algorand, Library, Omize Go, Dash, XRP, Power Ledger, Chromatica, Defex Finance, AMP. And I guess this also includes some tokens that were only in the Coinbase insider trading lawsuit, which again is peculiar. Why does the SEC now differentiate between the allegation against the insider trading and the one for their exchange with regards to securities? Why is there no... Wait a minute. I see BitConnect in there. That's funny. I mean, Not every single one of these is should be saved, I suppose. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting that that's actually in there. Rari governance token. That sounds legit as could be. Interesting. Oh, interesting. Air token. Nowadays you have to pay for air. That would be interesting. Anyway, that's besides the point. I think this is just the aggregation of all these different losses from the past, huh? At least that's what seems to be the case. Just reading what you guys are saying. XRP and slot machines, that's when we really know the switch has been flipped. Dusty, hope you're well, my friend. Yes, buddies and spirits. Doing very good. Good to see you again. Thomas says, Adam and Ada and Solana all have staking, with Adam having the highest at around 21%. So you think they're going after only the staking ones? Polygon. BUSD. I guess... because they're not going after proof of work, so from that perspective. But they're also not going after Ethereum. Why not? Because it's not based in the US, but neither is Polygon, right? I thought they were based like in India or something. Anyway, yesterday things were all crashing. We saw massive liquidations. Again, like I said at the start, today things are actually quite good. The numbers are up. Cardano is up pretty significant amount like right now. Polygon is doing well. Stacks is doing well. Solana is doing well. All the ones that were being alleged to be securities are all doing pretty good today because they're most likely just recovering from the big dip that we saw yesterday. And people are like bearish, but a lot of people don't know why exactly they're selling or why exactly things are in a bad spot. Isn't that funny? That a lot of people just don't really actually know why exactly they should be selling their Cardano or whatever. A lot of people just do because others are doing that. Robinhood, you can't name that as a factor for being bearish or whatnot. Robinhood does not matter, and nobody can tell me differently. It doesn't matter for crypto. It never has and never will. And again, it's just we're trying to figure out now exactly what ties all these different things together. Big Gadget says maybe they tried a final shakeout. Final shakeout? That also doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? You mean that they shake everybody out by alleging that different cryptos are securities? Mo says, what happened to the Nexo class action lawsuit regarding XRP holders that got liquidated? Anyone know? I don't know. I've never used Nexo before, so I've never really updated myself too much with Nexo and their situation. Yeah. So I wouldn't be able to know that. Let's see. Trading platform Robinhood to discontinue support. We already knew that. European governments proposed prohibitive measures to isolate crypto from the banking system. We talked about that. I think we talked about everything here. United States Senator Elizabeth Warren says Binance lied to Congress in a letter to the Department of Justice asking for an investigation. Yeah, I think we've covered all these. Former SEC Office of Financial Enforcement warns of upcoming regulatory siege. Get out of crypto platforms now, because he was basically saying things are about to get even worse. But we've covered that before too. So I think we've covered what I wanted to cover. And so, guys, if you've not done it yet, make sure that you press that like button. Why? I don't know. I have to keep coming up with reasons why. Why would I do that? Just make sure you press that like button if you want to support the channel. And later today, we'll probably do another video if some crazy news comes out. And if you want to be notified of that, because what if Ripple lawsuit all of a sudden is over? What if something crazy happens? You need to be notified is what I tell everybody. So make sure you've got the notification bell on. Click. And that's about it. See you guys later in another stream, I think, because I've covered everything I wanted. And I thank you all for coming by. Don't forget to join the Discord, as a lot of cool things are going to be shared in there soon, especially as I see more people getting alive in there. I'm going to invest more money to get you guys more insights and more things. For right now, I'm just going to probably be sharing everything that I already got. But potentially, if there's more people in there, I might hire some people to help you out with all the things you need. So just ask questions in there, and I can kind of see what people are asking and discussing, and then potentially get people to help you out with whatever questions you've got in that Discord. So again, just start talking in there, and ask questions, ask things. Maybe you're not going to get an answer straight away, but at least know that I'm watching. I'm watching every single thing you guys are talking about in a good way. So hopefully, I can help you guys more. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.